I'd like to speak about a fascinating topic today. Is it permitted to speak about Moshiach? Hooray, we've mentioned many times already the semi-prophetic words of the Vilna Gaon, who said that when the Russians enter Crimea, it's the bells of Moshiach, and when they enter Istanbul, put on your Shabbos clothing or Yontif clothing. And we find that many great Gedolim spoke about when Moshiach will come. And many great Gedolim said it didn't speak about Mashiach will come, and they said you shouldn't speak about it. In fact, we quoted the words of Rosh Shiva Moshe Meiselman, was a Kabbalah from his ancestor, the Tosus Yontif, right? That one should definitely not speak about Mashiach, and especially after what happened with Shabtai Tzvi, that people think there's a false Mashiach, one should avoid at all costs speaking about Mashiach. On the other hand, they mentioned from Rav Moshe Sternbach and Rav Eli Ber Vogel that they are taking to heart very much what's going on now and speaking very much about these semi-prophetic words of Vilgon. So who's right and who's wrong? And the answer is that they're both right. Yeah, they're both right. That on one hand, when you see uh, the words of the great Gaon, like the Vilna Gaon, uh, possibly unfolding again, it's not for sure. It's an auspicious time, it's not for sure. Then you have to be more the Sibor, you have to wake people up to what's going on. On the other hand, right, of course, Rav Meisman is also right. We have to be very careful. I want to share with you today fascinating Gemara that is in Sanhedrin, Daf Sadi Zion. Actually, two Gemaras. The first Gemara says like this. The first Gemara says, "B'shisha kolos b'shvias b'chamas b'mon shvias ben David ba." Right. The Gemara says that during Shvias, which is what we're in now, right now, the Shemitah, so there'll be Milchamas, and Moti Shvias ben David will come. Right. Sounds very much like an accurate description of what's going on now, but if you look at Rashi, it's not so clear. Rashi says, what does it mean, B'shvias Milchamas? Ben Odi Chavim Israel. If the Goyim, if the non-Jews are fighting amongst themselves, this is, according to Rashi at least, I didn't find other commentaries that explain this, but according to Rashi, it's only talking about a war between the nations of the world and Klal Yisrael. So we always have our Arab neighbors on all our borders who are contemplating war with us. We could perhaps say that that's what the Gemara is discussing, but the war in Russia is not the topic of this discussion. Okay, that's the first Gemara. Now there's another Gemara on the same page, Sadi Zayin Amud Aleph, in Sanhedrin, says as follows, right? Tihayder Rav Zera, Kavi Mishkach Rabbanan the Aski Bay. When Rav Zera would see Rabbanan, they were talking about Mashiach's coming, and they would be Darish Psukim, they would try to figure out the date. He said, Amalu b'matusi b'nayu lo tarchaku. Don't distance the time that when Mashiach comes. Right? The Tanya, Shloishim Boyim beHesach Hadas. There's three things that come with Hesach Hadas, with a blank out, as it were, from the interruption of thought. And those are Mashiach, Metzia, and Akrov. There's a fascinating commentary here from the Maharsha. The Maharsha, what's the comparison to an Akrov and to a Metzia? Right? The Maharsha says that there's two bechinas of Mashiach. Mashiach come with tremendous din, with Chavlim, as the Maharal says, Chavlim Mashiach, to be a complete breakdown of society and the world as we know it, a completely new world order, which will be characterized by death and destruction. That's one way. And there's another way, which is Barachamin. Yeah, Barachamin. Right? And that's the comparison to an Akrab and to a Metzia. Right? An Akrab means it'll come B'din, a scorpion, and a Metzia means it'll become Barachamin. Now, the the um, the Maharsha adds, Aga, by the way, right, that if there's such a hakbad, if there's such a stringency, not to speak about it, right? So, what was happening? Before that? The Gemara was telling you signs, right? The Gemara gives 19 attributes. What will happen when Mashiach will come, right? The Sota and the Gemara here, and so what's going on? It gives us signs about the Kailos, the Muhammads, the wars that will take place. So the Marshal says that it's not a problem, right? It's not a problem, right? Because it's coming in the Shamayim, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is for sure going to give us signs before it comes. We shouldn't talk about it so much, right? And in fact, this will probably be the last year that I'm giving, at least for now. Um, we don't need to talk about it so much, but the signs are there. We have to know the signs are there. And what does it mean it's going to come back as Hadas? It means that we're going to get so caught up, we're going to get so frustrated that um, that we're just going to like blank out. We're going to be so caught up with what's going on. Now, I want to share with you. I want to share with you two great commentaries from the great Hasidic Svarim. Yeah, one of them is from the Sefer Degel Machane Ephraim. Degel Machane Ephraim, one of the big Sefer Hasidus. So he says there, yeah, a beautiful idea, right? And it's very, very pertinent to the time that we're in right now. Right? He explains like this. He says that um, what does it mean? He compares this Gemara about the Akrab and the Mitzvah. What does it mean that an Akrab Mitzvah? He says there's two bechinas of Moshiach. There's the bechina of Nisan and there's the bechina of Tishrei. Nisan is characterized by Chesed, right? It's the first of the months of the Jewish calendar. Chodesh Hazel, Tiyei Elokeinu Rosh Hashanah. It's the first of the months. So if it comes to Nisan the Gula, it'll be Bechesed. Yeah? And there's another Bechina, and that's the Metzia. And there's another Bechina of Din, right? Mashiach will come with Din. And that's in Tishrei. So we have the two options, right? If Mashiach comes now, if we strengthen ourselves, if we do tshuva, each person looks in their heart, and especially works on Beidam L'Chavero, caring about other people, then Mashiach will come Bechesed. And if we're not so come in Tishrei, which is a bechina of din. That's what the Degel Machane Ephraim says. The Shah, the Sifsei Kohen, he wasn't Hasidish, but he was actually it was a Talmud of the of the Shulchan Aruch of Yosef Cairo. He says on the pasuk Lo Tachush B'Shor V'Chamor, right? We know that this is Torah prohibition not to plow together with a donkey and with a chamor, right? He says Tachrosh is a lashon of dibur. Tachrosh, he brings a raya from Goran Sanhedrin, the Afsadi, right? Richosh Vasayim, when a person speaks, right? And that's a remez you shouldn't speak about Mashiach coming. Well, Tachrosh b'chamor, we know that Mashiach will come on a chamor, that the same chamor that Abraham Avinu rode, and the same chamor that Moshe Rabbeinu rode on. Mashiach will ride on. It's a few thousand years old, so obviously we can't take this literally, but it means the bechina of chamor. Mr. Maharal explains this chumris, right? And says the Shach, it's not to be confused with the Shach on the Shulchan Aruch, because the Shach, the Sifsei Kohen, the Talmud of the Shulchan Aruch, he says b'chein shor v'chamor v'gematria shnei Mashiach. There'll be two Mashiach, we know this Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. So this is it. We can't talk it when on one hand, it's a great mitzvah to Ma'or the Tzibor, as we've been trying to do the past week, and to be aware that we're in auspicious times. Not that Mashiach is going to come now, right? But that we can bring Mashiach. It's a time, as Meir Shiva Rav Shlevsky told me, it's an auspicious time for Mashiach, and therefore we're obligated now to take what's going on to heart and to try to the best of our ability to strengthen ourselves in Torah and Gemilas Kesef, right? That's on one hand, right? On the other hand, as the Gemara says, right, in the words of Rav Zera, right, don't distance the Mashiach by talking about it too much, right? We need a bechina of Hesach Hadas. We have to, as it were, just put it in our minds. We don't need to actually do anything. It's going to happen. The difficulties will become as of such that it will be put out of our mind automatically. In fact, I believe it's Rav Azulai says that it will be so difficult at times. They'll be crawling on our knees in the desert, eating grass. Yeah, the Zohar says there'll be 9 months of harsh persecution from the Arabs, and we've been going through that period for so long. We don't know when the 9 months are starting. But the last 6 weeks, there will be intense persecution, and we'll be crawling on our knees, eating grass in the desert. Okay. Again, we brought from the Degel Machane Ephraim. It could be Bedin, it could be Rachamim. The din does not have to take place. It could be Rachamim. If we are Ma'or ourselves, then Mashiach will come. I want to just conclude with a story that happened to me today, an unbelievable story, which really helped me to understand the words of the Gemara that we just quoted. Right? We said 3 things come by Hadas. One of them is a um, is a lost item. One of them is Moshiach, and one of them is the scorpion. I have a key here. This key, this key on it, it's a bar line key, number 28. It contains on it approximately 25,000 sperm. It's a vital part of my day because I'm all day long typing on my computer, writing up Chidushim. And if I don't have my 25,000 books, I'm very, very lacking. So I was this morning recording some shirim, and I had to take out the key because my computer, the USB drive, it has two of them. One of them broke. Take it out, and I had to put in, something else in it to charger. And in fact, when I got to the place where I wanted to daven, I noticed that the key was gone. Right? Before though the key disappeared, I heard a clink. And it was reminiscent of what the Vilna Gaon says, the bells of Moshiach. It was a clink, like a small clink of this key falling on. And I had a feeling it was there, but I wasn't sure. In any event, I just couldn't find it. Someone came up to me, and he said he was collecting for a certain very worthy cause, and I gave him 5 shekels. And then he said, like, "What's wrong, Rabbi Travis? I see something is a problem." I said to him, "I lost this key. It's 25,000 sperm on it." And we looked around a little bit, and eventually we looked and looked, and I just gave up. I went inside. I said, "You can't give up. You can't give up. I really need that key. That's an integral part of my day." I went back outside, and he said, "Oh, I thought you found it." And he looked a little more, and he found the key. He picked it up, and there it was. The key was found. I was such simcha and such joy. But it was that contrast. The contrast of giving up. I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to get it back. My 25,000 books, I'll just have to get a new key. And feeling like a state of complete yush. I'm not going to get it. And then I dived into Hashem and said, "Hashem, please get me that key back." And I went outside and we found the key. Right? And this is what Chazal are telling us. This is what's going to be before Mashiach comes. We're going to get to a state where we just give up. It's going to be too hard. It's going to be too difficult. Or, right, alternatively, it could be Barachman. Nisan, like the Degel Machne Ephraim says. And we're approaching those times. Things are getting more difficult. The world is in chaos. The world is at war. And who knows what's going to be. Right? But it's in our hands. It's in our hands. We have to take the time to think about our lives, right? As the Mesilas Yesharim says, right? That people learn plumb this, they learn pilpul in this, and they could be all day long learning and davening or working or whatever they're doing, yeah, and they forget to think about Hashem, right? We can't forget ourselves, yeah. Think about other people. Remember what David Cohen said, right? Ma nasa adam v'yitzol chel Mashiach. What can a person do to be saved from the din to make sure that Mashiach comes in Nisan? As we said, that means think about people all the time. Don't spend one moment of your day thinking about yourself. You go to daven for the Jewish people. You go to learn for success in Klal Yisrael. You go to work, think about your family, think about the people you give tzedakah to, think about other people all the time. Rav Wolbe said, a taxi driver, he could be driving all day long to make money, or he could be driving all day long to help people. It doesn't matter he's getting money. What is your kavanah? A person could be doing chesed all day long. The ramp is right over there, and I must conclude this year because it's starting to rain here at the coastal. We could be walking up that ramp any day now. It's in our hands, right? I'm not going to talk about this more because I'm going to listen to the words of Chazal. Yeah, that's Zera. Not to speak about it too much, but everybody should take the shir I've given to heart, and today make a change in your life. This askas chasadim. This will bring the goal of mankind itself.